I grew up in the Seelick Okanagan territory in what's now commonly known as Kelowna. And I'm a proud mom and wife. And, I've spent a large part of my career in human resources roles in the tech sector, and also on boards of directors for nonprofit community organizations. And the work I'm doing now, I am leading a small but mighty team at HR Tech Group, which is a nonprofit association for HR people and culture professionals in Canada's tech sector. And we often get asked, what the heck do we actually do? We produce a number of things. We produce a big tech salary survey each year. And we also provide training programs and lots of data for our members. And we host a tech talent conference. We've been producing an extensive amount of diversity, equity, and inclusion resources over the last couple of years, thanks to some government and industry funding. And we call it our Diversity and Inclusion Tech Project. And it's really focused on promoting the recruitment, the retention, and the career development of underrepresented groups into skilled occupations in BC's tech sector. Building community is about building strong, positive connections between people or between groups of people. I think it's building a sense of belonging and purpose that really benefits everyone. And it's important. It's very, I think it's really important to, imagine your life without any community, no support network, right? Imagine no people to share your joy, your tears, no one to, share with when you have plenty, no peer network to draw upon for ideas or with help. I think that sounds pretty bleak to me. I think, community is so important because our societies are built on community, and they pretty quickly fall apart without it. I think community brings out the best in all of us, and it's something we need as humans. And it's also how we get stuff done. I like to get stuff done. And I think that one person or one organization doesn't usually have much impact, but when a community comes together to do something, I think that's when change happens. And that's why I think community is so important. To help build community, organizations can do three things. They can share. Obviously not sharing your trade secrets or any secret formulas, but there's so much more, there's so much valuable information, there's so much learned knowledge that we can all be sharing. Organizational cultures are often, they're so secretive, so competitive, yet, it's interesting, they don't seem to thrive when they're acting that way. So I think, to build community, you need to share and contribute to the community, and organizations can be thinking about, what are they sharing? Are they sharing any knowledge? Are they sharing resources? Are their employees sharing time and expertise? Are there leaders? And I think a tech company, Unbounce, is a great example of sharing. They created a toolkit for working towards gender pay equity, and says they were using it for themselves, and then they decided to share that toolkit and build a community of companies to do the same work that they're doing with pay equity. And I think they're now at 57 companies that have pledged to do the work around pay equity. And I think that's where we see real shifts there. Another thing organizations can do to build community is collaborate, help or other organizations and other people by collaborating, whether it's programs, events, thought leadership. I think about HR Tech Group, collaborating is how the organization was born almost 30 years ago. It was a handful of leaders, and they decided that instead of just competing for talent, which they were doing very head to head, that they would be collectively stronger if they collaborated to create a salary survey and to share data. And I think that act of collaboration by 8 individuals has, it has grown into what's now a community of 600 leaders who are, we're strengthening not only our own capabilities, but our company's capabilities and the whole tech community in Western Canada. So I think that act of collaboration built this community. The third thing I'd say that organizations can do to build community is to listen. Listen to your employees, to your community members, and know when to step back and let them take a front seat. Involve them, help them lead initiatives, give them the tools that they're looking for. I think of a community, and you don't think of a strong leader. You think, when you think of a community, and a community really lives on without the leader or without the person that started it, because people are engaged, they're collaborating, they're taking initiative. The greatest challenge I think that I've overcome in my career is probably my own confidence, or let's say lack thereof. The imposter syndrome really rang true for me for many years. I was definitely discounted at times, overlooked, patronized many times because of my age, because of my gender, and that hits your confidence. I look back thinking, walking into business events full of people who don't look like you, and they also don't approach you, that's intimidating. Interviewing positions, when the entire exec team and the board don't look like you, that's intimidating. And I let that get to me at times, right? I think I lost opportunities because I didn't come across confidently when I knew damn well that I'd be stellar in those roles, but I just didn't show it, right? So I think as I get older and grayer, I'm definitely getting more confident.
My name is Natasha Jung, and I'm the founder and executive producer and editor-in-chief of Cold Tea Collective, an online publication for, by, and about Asian millennials in North America, where we explore identities as well as navigate the challenges of living between cultures. I founded this collective, this media collective, in 2016, and since then, I've grown the team alongside many amazing team members to about 20 plus content creators and other operational team members across North America. Community building to me means making the world and the people around you better. For a community to grow and thrive, it needs to be a safe space where people can be their full selves and explore their full potential. Now, sometimes community is physical or geographical, but a lot of the time, community is built upon people who have had similar life experiences. When I founded Cold Tea Collective, there were probably about a handful of publications or social media accounts even focused on amplifying the voices and experiences of Asian millennials in North America. And although this community of content creators has grown over the last few years, more so in the last year, it's grown out of necessity due to the hate that's been directed towards the Asian community. Now more than ever, we really need to band together, not just based on whatever dimensions of diversity we identify with, but really band together, everybody, against hate, bigotry, and unite instead for justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. Building a community is, to me, the long game. It's important because if people are a part of the right community, it allows them to, as I said, be their best selves and their true selves. And it's really incredible what can be achieved when you're working alongside people who not only have your back, but when you can actually unite together and work towards a common goal. Now, the sad reality, though, is that most of us are probably in spaces where we may not be able to be our full selves, or maybe have to perform against impossible standards. I'm speaking about the business community in general. So, some of those standards, impossible standards that I speak of might include the model minority myth because you're Asian, or maybe there's an expectation to lead, speak, or dress a certain way because you are a woman. Now, I'm still learning my place in the communities that I participate in, but what I do know is that I want to make them better for the next generation of Asian Canadian women. Three things I think organizations can do to help build community are: one, ask questions and be curious. Be curious about others that may not be in your immediate community or circle, and don't assume that you know what they need or want in terms of support. Number two, I would say listen genuinely and with an open mind. And last, but possibly most importantly, one thing that organizations can do to build community is to take meaningful action. Now, community building doesn't just happen overnight. It really has to be nurtured, it has to evolve, it has to be challenged, and it has to grow. Now, all of this requires really active engagement that actually makes an impact, and it doesn't just maybe sound good in theory or makes you look good. Over the last year, a lot of organizations have made a lot of public statements about standing with specific communities against hate, but beyond a social media post, my personal hope is that more organizations can take the time to, as I said, ask questions and be curious of the people in the communities that they wish to participate in or build or ally with, listen genuinely, and also to take meaningful action to enable, amplify, and hopefully empower marginalized and oppressed communities with resources such as time, money, and talent. If I could change one thing about the world, it would be that there would be more love, more empathy, more understanding, more care, more compassion.
I'm Jill Earthy, CEO of Women's Enterprise Center. I'm delighted to congratulate Stephanie Hollingshead, CEO of HR Tech Group, as the winner of the BC Women of the Year Award in the Community Builder category. Stephanie is working to create a more inclusive business community. Through her impactful work with the Diversity and Inclusion Hub, she has created useful resources and programs that diversify the tech sector in BC. Her impact is profound. I'd also like to congratulate the runner-up, Natasha Jung, founder and executive producer of Cold Tea Collective Media, who's building a community that celebrates Asian millennials by focusing on the power of storytelling. Thank you to BC Business Magazine and all the sponsors of the Women of the Year Awards for profiling these incredible community builders.